Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated boxing legend who built an empire of mansions, private jets, and billion-dollar swagger, is now facing the unthinkable. He just lost everything. From lavish riches to mounting lawsuits and shocking financial revelations, the man known as Money may finally be out of cash, out of luck, and out of time. Is this the fall of a king who thought he could never be knocked out, even by life itself? Breaking news: federal agents just made a terrifying discovery at Floyd Mayweather's home, one that could unravel everything. The man who once flaunted a $100 million check he never bothered to cash is now at the center of a financial firestorm. From luxury jets to multi-million-dollar lawsuits, the so-called money man may have just lost it all. It all started on I-65 in Baldwin County, Alabama. A massive cash seizure during a routine semi-truck search tipped off investigators. What followed led straight to Mayweather's front door. And now, questions are flying. How did the highest-paid athlete in the world go from billion-dollar boasts to whispers of bankruptcy and a $42 million disaster? Is this the downfall of boxing's most flamboyant empire, or the biggest scam in sports history? Let's rewind. Floyd Mayweather wasn't born into wealth. He was born into a fight. Raised in a tiny one-bedroom apartment in New Brunswick, New Jersey, with no heat, no electricity, and 6 people crammed into tight quarters, Floyd learned to survive before he ever learned to throw a punch. His mother battled addiction. His father, a former boxer, bounced in and out of prison. Boxing wasn't just a sport, it was Floyd's only escape. He never cried, never complained, just trained. By 1996, he had punched his way onto the Olympic stage, bringing home a bronze medal and a champion's hunger. As a young pro, they called him Pretty Boy Floyd. Fast, slick, almost untouchable. But behind that polished image, he was fighting battles outside the ring too. Under top-ranked promotions, Floyd was making a few million while his fights raked in tens of millions. The math didn't add up, and that's when Floyd flipped the script. In 2006, Floyd Mayweather made the gutsiest move of his career. He bet everything on himself. He paid $750,000 to walk away from Top Rank, buying out his contract and walking into uncharted territory. No safety net, no powerful promoter to back him, just raw ambition. It was a gamble few in boxing dared to take, but Floyd wasn't trying to be just another fighter. He was aiming to become a mogul. That moment marked the birth of Money Mayweather. With Mayweather Promotions, he took full control of his fights, his image, and most importantly, the profits. No more splitting the pot. He became his own boss, rewriting the rules of the boxing business. And the payoff? Insane. Within a few short years, Mayweather was pulling in $100 million per fight, topping Forbes as the highest-paid athlete on the planet. But when the money started pouring in, so did the chaos. Gone was the quiet, focused Pretty Boy Floyd. In his place stood Money Mayweather, a walking spectacle of wealth, private jets, Bugattis, diamond-covered watches that cost more than most people's homes. And he didn't just live large. He flaunted it all on social media with unapologetic swagger. Press conferences turned into performances, with Floyd tossing stacks of cash into the crowd and humiliating his opponents with icy precision. And the wildest part? It worked. He became the most hated man in boxing, and that was the plan. Floyd understood something most athletes never figure out. People don't need to love you to pay to watch you. In fact, it's better if they don't. The world tuned in hoping to see him fall, and every time he didn't, they came back for more. Again and again. In marketing terms, he wasn't just a champion. He was the perfect villain, the heel, the one you couldn't look away from. While other fighters chased titles, Floyd Mayweather chased something bigger: attention. He didn't just fight hard, he fought smart. Every move was calculated, every opponent hand-picked. He played the game like a grandmaster, inside the ring and out. The result? A spotless record, 50 wins, 0 losses, undefeated, unmatched, untouchable. But outside the ring, admiration came with a price. Fans marveled at his defensive brilliance, but slammed his arrogance. Analysts crowned him the most strategic fighter in boxing history, while critics couldn't stop questioning his ego. Love him or hate him, Mayweather was undeniable. He wasn't just a boxer, he was a brand, a lifestyle, a walking paradox. Respect was optional, attention was mandatory, and millions tuned in, every single time. With unimaginable wealth came legendary excess. Floyd didn't just spend money, he made it rain. Whether it was strutting into Gucci with a duffel bag packed with $1 million in cash, or shutting down entire malls for private $15 million shopping sprees, Mayweather lived like rules didn't apply. His Instagram was a daily display of decadence, fleets of exotic cars, diamond-crusted watches worth more than mansions, and hotel beds buried in stacks of $100 bills. One of his watches? 18 million, one. But behind the glitz, the cracks began to show. The first signs weren't in tabloids, but at home. His relationship with his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., the man who trained him from day one, began to unravel. They had once been inseparable, bonded by blood and boxing. But as the money rolled in, so did pride, control, and resentment. "We never had arguments," his father later confessed, "until the money came in. Then it stopped being about training and started being about who deserved the credit. Then came the fallout, loud, messy, and impossible to ignore. First up, 50 Cent, once Floyd Mayweather's ride or die, his business partner, his brother. Their friendship was front-page material, flashy, fearless, and full of swagger. But behind the scenes, the bromance was cracking, and when it finally broke, it broke hard. 50 Cent later pulled no punches, saying Floyd had changed, that the obsession with money had swallowed everything else: loyalty, friendship, respect. Their business dealings turned bitter, with 50 accusing Floyd of dodging debts, ignoring investments, and treating people like they were disposable. He forgot where he came from, 50 said. It became all about control. But perhaps the most heartbreaking betrayal came from within his own boxing family. Gervonta "Tank" Davis, Floyd's hand-picked protege, his supposed heir to the throne, turned on his mentor. Tank didn't hold back. He accused Floyd of manipulation, of stringing him along with crumbs to keep him under control. "They make it look like they're helping you," Tank said, "but it's really about making sure you always need them." To the world, it looked like Mayweather was building up the next champ. But to Tank, it felt like he was being used, more pawn than partner. And these weren't one-off beefs. They were part of a growing pattern. As Floyd's fortune soared into the stratosphere, his inner circle started to collapse. Trust eroded. Friends turned silent. Loyalty was replaced with lawsuits. And the people who once cheered the loudest, one by one they walked away. Floyd Mayweather's wealth was undeniable, but so was the price of holding on to it. For every mansion he built, he burned a bridge. And with each private jet, Bugatti, and million-dollar watch, a question kept growing louder. Was this the cost of greatness, or just plain greed? No one questioned his talent. Floyd's skills in the ring were masterful, textbook perfection. But outside the ropes, his ego took center stage, and not everyone was clapping. Things hit a boiling point when Mayweather did the unthinkable. He took aim at the legends. In a now infamous interview, he dismissed the legacy of Muhammad Ali, claiming, "I've accomplished more than any fighter in boxing history." He even criticized Ali's losses, including to Leon Spinks, who had only 7 pro fights at the time, and claimed Ken Norton had beaten Ali all 3 times they fought, a stance historians flatly reject. The backlash was immediate. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith tore into him, calling the comments blasphemous. He reminded the world that greatness isn't just about stats, it's about standing for something. Ali wasn't just a champion, he was a symbol of civil rights, of courage, of dignity. Floyd? According to Smith, he stood for one thing only: money. Even Mike Tyson weighed in. A man who had lived the highs, the fame, the isolation, Tyson saw something dangerous in Floyd's reflection. "He's too into himself," Tyson said bluntly, warning that one day, every fighter is forced to face reality. And when that day comes, ego offers no shelter. The public seemed to agree. Fans didn't tune in to admire Mayweather. They tuned in to see him fall. He was brilliant in the ring, but outside of it, he became something else, a symbol of unchecked arrogance, a villain, not just by design, but by destiny. And the narrative only got darker from there. With Gervonta Tank Davis, the split wasn't just professional, it was personal. Floyd's once loyal protege didn't walk away with bitterness. He walked away with pain. In interviews, Tank described a quiet manipulation, a strategy of control that kept him dependent. Floyd, he said, gave just enough to make you feel grateful, but never enough to let you grow. He didn't shout. He didn't rant. He spoke like a man warning others. The deeper the riches, Tank said, the deeper the rift. Floyd Mayweather's relationships were starting to unravel under the very weight of his empire. And for the first time, the world was asking, at what point does legacy become collateral damage? When Mayweather retired undefeated in 2017, he had the perfect exit. 50-0. A boxing legend. He could have ridden off into the sunset with nothing left to prove. But he didn't. Instead, he opened a strange new chapter, the exhibition era. It began with a spectacle, a lopsided beatdown of Japanese kickboxer Tenshin Nasukawa. Then came a circus-like showdown with YouTube star Logan Paul. The fights were big on hype, light on competition, and critics were quick to call them what they were: cash grabs. No belts, no stakes, just brand building and bank accounts. MMA star Chael Sonnen didn't hold back. Floyd's still fighting because he needs the money, he said, claiming those jaw-dropping headlines about 9-figure paydays were more myth than reality. Even respected boxing promoter Eddie Hearn threw shade. When Floyd fought at London's O2 Arena in 2023, Hearn remarked, "I don't know anyone who even knew the fight was happening. Ouch." Then things got uglier. Logan Paul publicly accused Floyd of stiffing him, claiming he hadn't been paid his full cut from their blockbuster fight. The accusation sparked a wave of questions. Was the money man running low on money? And if so, how far would he go to keep the illusion alive? Even Deji, a fellow influencer who went toe-to-toe with Mayweather, hinted that the business behind the scenes wasn't nearly as clean or professional as you'd expect from a former world champ. And it wasn't just Deji. One by one, the accusations started stacking up. This wasn't just about a few unpaid checks, it was a pattern. A bigger question emerged: you made $1 billion, Floyd, but did you pay your people? The more the stories came out, the more fans started to wonder, was Mayweather's obsession with money still a calculated brand move, or had it crossed into desperation? What once looked like the playbook of a financial genius was starting to look like a cover-up. Behind the flash of private jets, diamond watches, and championship belts, the cracks began to show. In 2023, Business Insider dropped a bombshell report picking apart Floyd's so-called real estate empire. While Mayweather had bragged about owning over 60 properties, the investigation revealed many were co-owned, mortgaged, or tied up in shady financial structures. His actual ownership? A fraction of what he claimed. The article asked a blunt question: was Floyd inflating his empire to keep the brand alive? Then came the big one. A $42 million cryptocurrency scam tied to a project Floyd had endorsed. The SEC took notice. While Mayweather denied wrongdoing, the headlines exploded. Suddenly, the money team didn't look untouchable. It looked vulnerable. But the weirdest twist of all? The Dubai detainment rumor. Social media erupted with claims that Floyd had been held in Dubai over unpaid debts. No confirmation, no denial. Just viral whispers and speculation. And just when it seemed like the internet had written him off, boom, Mayweather appeared courtside at a Clippers game in LA. No arena spotlight, no official mention. Just Floyd, sitting in the crowd like nothing had happened. Was the Dubai story fake? Was it a publicity stunt? A legal issue quietly settled? Some fans even floated conspiracy theories. Was it even him? One thing's for sure, a few years ago, the idea of Floyd Mayweather dodging financial drama, SEC probes, or being ghosted by an NBA arena would have been unthinkable. But now, it's starting to feel like the empire might have been built on a house of cards. At the height of his fame, Floyd Mayweather was untouchable, or so it seemed. Then came Chael Sonnen's bombshell. In a jaw-dropping interview, the outspoken MMA veteran claimed that despite all the hype, the $100 million nights, the billion-dollar athlete talk, Floyd Mayweather may have only netted around $100 million total over his entire career. Not per fight, total. It was a staggering contrast to the myth Mayweather had built around himself. But the numbers started to make sense when you considered the cost of his lifestyle, non-stop luxury, a massive entourage payroll, legal fees, and a spending habit that never hit the brakes. Suddenly, the empire didn't look so indestructible. It looked like it was built on sand. Sure, Mayweather may have created the richest brand in boxing history, but did he also build a house of cards? Once upon a time, his fights were global events. Hollywood stars, hip-hop icons, and sports legends packed into arenas just to witness the spectacle, whether to see him dominate or, hopefully, finally lose. Either way, the world watched. But now, those blockbuster nights feel like ancient history. In recent years, Mayweather has retreated from the sport's main stage, pivoting to exhibition fights, unregulated, unofficial, often gimmicky events that blur the line between athleticism and entertainment, and the decline has been brutal. Take his 2023 exhibition at London's O2 Arena against British reality TV star Aaron Chalmers. It should have been a spectacle. Instead, it was a flop. Entire sections of the arena sat empty. The buzz was gone. Despite heavy promotion, even boxing insiders like Eddie Hearn admitted they didn't know anyone who was aware the fight was happening. Pay-per-view numbers? A shadow of the past. The message was clear: the king of pay-per-view was struggling to sell tickets. And then came the real question: why was Floyd still fighting? The man who once claimed to have made over $1 billion was now taking low-stakes fights with low-name opponents. Prominent voices in combat sports, including Sonnen, sounded the alarm. Maybe the billion-dollar narrative wasn't reality, it was branding. A story told so often, even Floyd believed it. But now the story's falling apart. And the truth? It might be far less glamorous than the legend. According to Chael Sonnen, Floyd's real net worth, after taxes, team payouts, jet fuel, and an army of staff, might be a far cry from the billion-dollar fantasy. Sonnen estimates Mayweather's actual take-home earnings could be closer to $100 million total. And when you consider reports that Floyd was spending $1 million a month just to maintain his lifestyle, luxury cars, private jets, personal chefs, 24/7 security, the math starts to add up. And not in a good way. Then came the Dubai scandal, a viral storm that lit up social media. The rumor? Floyd was being detained in the UAE over unpaid debts. It spread like wildfire until a TikTok clip surfaced, showing him courtside at an NBA game in Los Angeles. But by then, the damage was done. The fact that so many people believed the story said it all. The public's faith in Mayweather's financial invincibility had cracked. Fans started to ask, was the whole thing just a performance? A billion-dollar illusion? For years, Floyd sold the dream of untouchable wealth. But as the smoke cleared, many began to wonder, when you strip away the glitter, the Gucci, and the glare of diamond-encrusted watches, what's really left? In the ring, Floyd Mayweather's legacy is bulletproof. 50 wins, 0 losses. He dominated across weight classes, made world champions look like sparring partners, and elevated defense to an art form. He changed the game with his precision, his discipline, and his ring IQ. No doubt, Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest boxers to ever step through the ropes. But outside the ropes, that legacy is far more complicated. Yes, he flipped the business of boxing on its head. He broke free from promoters and built his own empire, a path to financial freedom in a sport known for chewing up its stars. But as the fortune grew, so did the fractures. Friendships collapsed under the weight of money. 50 Cent went from best friend to bitter rival. Tank Davis, his protege and the future of Mayweather Promotions, walked away, accusing Floyd of control and manipulation. Even his relationship with his father, once the backbone of his success, was damaged by ego and power plays. Business partners distanced themselves. Fans grew skeptical. Even athletes who once idolized him began to turn away. And for many in the fight world, Mayweather's relentless pursuit of money, fame, and control may have come at the ultimate cost: respect. Floyd Mayweather's relentless pursuit of wealth came at a cost far greater than money: respect. He alienated boxing purists with flashy exhibitions. He infuriated critics with tone-deaf jabs at legends like Muhammad Ali. And he crafted a public image so drenched in materialism that every misstep, every bounced check, every half-empty arena felt like poetic justice to those who long rooted for his downfall. Still, let's be clear, Floyd Mayweather is no failure. He rewrote the rules of the fight game. He made more money than any boxer in history. He walked away with his mind sharp, his body intact, and a fortune that most fighters could only dream of. On paper, he won everything. But maybe that's the tragedy. He mastered the art of defense inside the ring, but in building walls to protect himself from financial leeches, rivals, and betrayal, he may have shut out something far more meaningful: loyalty, connection, legacy. Floyd Mayweather may have won every round, every belt, every dollar, but did he lose the one fight that really mattered? The battle for something real? That's the haunting question.